And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Bullet Grill House High School Sports Pregame Show. I'm Craig Irwin. To my left is Brian Besh. On the far end, Chris Moran. And once again, as we're going to surprise everybody at home, we have a special guest in the house on a bye week this week, Coach Vanover from the Livingston Lions. And before we get real deep in this, we had some upsets this week. In my opinion, some upsets overall. Number 7 ranked Silsbee knocks off West Orange Stark. Not an upset, but what is the upset there is West Orange Stark loses a 62-game district winning streak, knocked off the throne by a very good Silsbee football team. Cleveland gets their inaugural win of the season this year over Caney Creek, probably their only win this year. We had that game in the pick'ems, but got to give Cleveland some props. They're up there at the big boy level, 6A, junior college football.
Right.
And Cleveland gets their first win over Caney Creek. And New Caney, I don't think anybody's going to stop them until they get to the playoffs, Brian.
Yeah. Really impressed with what they were able to do. And it's like you say, there's no shame in losing to Silsbee. I know Coach got a first-hand look at them, and I got a look at them for that second half that they played them. It was just a shortened scrimmage that we had over there in that first scrimmage. And they're good. They're very good, and they've got a receiver that's college-bound next year, I believe, and he's incredible. But they're just churn out athletes. Even the basketball team, I mean, they were 10 deep, and I think most of those guys play football. But it's an incredible amount of athletes over there at Silsbee, and they're going to go a long way.
But more impressively, the biggest upset of all, as Madisonville creeps into the top 10 in the Dave Campbell's high school football standings, Coach Vanover goes on a little road trip and knocks off the Mustangs.
Yeah.
Cuts their head off. Big win, 21-9. What is it, 21-9?
21-9, yeah. And it's not the fact that they won. It's not the fact that they won 21-9. It's the way that defense played. And I had them at 102 total yards for the game is what Madisonville had. 102 total yards in 2022. A football team that's ranked is getting 102 total yards. At halftime, they had 17 total yards at halftime. And, Coach, I know we talked about it after the game, and I know obviously you were impressed with the defensive performance. But, I mean, can you put it into words after watching film and everything, just how good these guys were on Friday night?
Yeah, we played like, we were on another planet. They really did. But we'd seen the improvement level escalate 50% each of the last 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
And they've gotten better and better and better and more sound and solid. Confidence was really brimming in the secondary. Our kids are tired of hearing that they can't play man coverage, and yes, we can. And we blanketed them up pretty darn well. They threw a couple of jump balls to the kid, the number 7, the Texas Tech commit. And we were right there pulling and close and trying to tear it to forearms, and he just out-jumped us, but that was the only catch he had. And the rest of the time we frustrated him and just blanketed him like crazy. And the big difference was our defensive front just absolutely manhandled their front.
And, Craig, I know you weren't there at the game, but the really impressive thing about that first half stat with Madisonville getting 17 total yards, their first play from scrimmage, they threw a pass for 31 yards. The rest of the half, -14.
First and goal, and we held them to a field goal after the first play of the game. Had a short kick, and
that's it.
And
that's
that
all they had.
And that it was like it flipped the switch, and the kids' light bulbs came on, and they knew then how well we were going to play, and it never let up.
Coach, I'm going to say this, and I haven't had the opportunity to see Livingston play football yet this year, and I'm hoping that in week 10 that I'm able to go do y'all's final game of the season as you're on a bye week this week, and Cold Spring will be on a bye week the final week of the season, and I'm hoping I get to go do that game, Brian and I. But listening to Brian talk, y'all have had some struggles early on, and trying to find a balance, trying to find the right fit offensively and defensively for this football team, and it's something that you've been able to do year in and year out. Is you play with your X's and O's. It's a chess match, and it's a matter of dominating. Last year, you didn't have the season you wanted to have. The year prior, you did. But with the progression, hearing Brian talk week in and week out about the Livingston Lion football team and what y'all are doing, moving players around, what was a number 2 is now number 1 on offense, and that number 1 that was on offense is now the one on defense, and playing that chess match against a very good Madisonville football team. That shows that the hard work not only that y'all as coaches are putting in, but yet the work that the kids are putting in. And Livingston has bought into the program of Coach Vanover to this point. And the score 21-9 against a very competitive high school for a football team of the Madisonville Mustangs, that says a lot about what y'all have done over there, and really makes me rethink y'all's district whenever I sit down and break this district down. And Brian, I know it does you as well.
Yeah. And Coach Vanover will tell you, this is a completely different team from week 1. And he's not kidding whenever he says it's gotten 50% better. It really has. Every single week it's gotten better. And, Coach, I know you can talk to the way that you guys have had to toggle guys back and forth from offense to defense, and maybe some guys that didn't even play defense in that first couple of weeks, they got on the field and they made some plays this past Friday. And I know some guys that maybe had to split time. Maybe you've specialized, and maybe you can talk a little bit about it.
Well, we really have. We've tried to utilize every ounce of talent that we've got. We ask them to give, you may not play but 10 or 15 plays at this position and continue the whole game at your other spot, but give us the 10 or 15 best that you've got. Just give that guy some rest, give us some fresh legs, give us everything you got that one series or those 2 series that you're going to get, and then we'll get back to the normal positions and rotations, and everybody knows they're sharing the load, and that's a great thing, and there's no jealousies or selfishness. They're all celebrating each other's successes as their own, and that's a big thing that we've had to overcome in the 4 years that we've been here, to put a stop to that kind of stuff. Petty jealousies and selfishness destroy a program in any kind of sports or business like a cancer.
They're playing as one.
That's correct.
They are playing as one, and looking at y'all's schedule, as we talked earlier, or briefly, Bel Air Episcopal 42-7 loss. A lot of growing pains right there as you're making adjustments and trying to figure things out. Meadville, turn around playing them again, 44-19 loss. Then at Palestine, a 24-18 loss. Then kind of a momentum changer. You go in and play Houston Legacy. You get the win there, 48-47 in a nail-biter. Get this big win over Madisonville, 21-9. Now, I know as well as you do, obviously the bye week is probably coming at the worst time ever as a high for a group of athletes. Huffman Hargraves, as I look at y'all's district, what's normally your big 2-3 components, Huffman, Little Cypress, and Lumberton. Lumberton to me is the leader out of this district overall.
Correct.
Little Cypress is down a little bit. Vider's down a lot compared to what they normally are. Splendora, I've seen them play. They have a ton of potential. They're just the pieces of the puzzle. How do you see this district realistically? Because I know you look at your schedule and you put, we should win this game. This game's a question mark. This game, I don't think we're depth. After beating a good Madisonville team with the chess match that you have, how do you see your district going?
Well, we know that we've got a chance now against anybody that we play. Our kids know it. We know it. The folks know it. That we will take the field each and every week against whoever we play, knowing that we've got a chance to win this game. We just got to do what we do best. Can't worry about them, and don't give them the explosive plays, and don't turn the ball over. And that's what we've been doing really well. We found out tonight against Palestine, we played Palestine right out of their stadium. We played like crazy and had 2 touchdown passes called back on some real finicky penalty situations but we played, and that changed our season. I told Brian that night after, you just seen what's fixing to take place with our kids. This game will be the turning point of our season and the program.
And a big deal for the kids to buy in after a loss like that.
And they really did. And it was they understood. They handled it with maturity. It bothered them like heck that they lost when they knew that they had won it, but they didn't do the things it took penalty-wise to clean up their mess, and it cost us two touchdowns, possibly more. And they've never missed a beat since that time.
Capitalize off your mistakes and execute, and that's what y'all done the last two games.
Correct.
And kudos to y'all. It's been very impressive to be able to see. And I told Brian whenever he got here at Bullet Grill House earlier, I said, if we were going to bet on that game, I would have bet everything I had going the other way. Even after listening to what Brian has said about the progression that the Livingston Lions have made, I would have bet it the other way just off of scoreboard watching and stats overall. And, it puts a lot of fire in me with the podcast and stuff that I do, and really kind of builds me as we progress on into Week 6 and Week 7 on following the Livingston Lions and what y'all are going to do there in that district. I want to talk about some other games that were in the pick'ems while we're here. Humble at CE King, that game there. Actually, all three of us went. Me, Brian, Chris. We went 4-1. The one game that we missed was Woodville at Diboll, and that's another game that if I had to put a lot of money on, that I would have kept it on Woodville. As Coach Morrison, nothing against him, I think he's probably the best defensive coach in the state of Texas in high school football.
Well, and there's a connection there because Coach just played the team that beat Diboll 42-0 to start the season off. And so you have a team that starts off a season 42-0. They've made a big jump, obviously, to go in and beat somebody like Woodville.
No, most definitely. And to beat Woodville, 21-14 was the final over there. In the podcast that I did out of District 9 3A, I had Woodville picked to win the district. And obviously my picks have just, they don't mean anything nowadays. It's like Craig don't know what he's talking about. But 21-14 game and a late turnover was the difference in, overall in that game for Diboll to be able to get that win. Another game that was in our pick'ems was Cleveland at Caney Creek. We all had Cleveland picked to win that one, and that's exactly what they did. The one who missed it was Coach Ratliff last week, as he was trying to stay faithful to Caney Creek, as Cleveland gets the win, 34-27. CE King at Humble. CE King gets the win 42-21. They got a big matchup ahead of them this week with North Shore there at the 6A level.
Good Jasper. Luck. I just said good luck.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can.
You're going to need it against North Shore.
Yeah, no, you're right. Jasper at Liberty, and Jasper gets the win over there 21-14. Liberty showing some progression, playing better football, new coaching staff over there, new offense that they're running there in Liberty. And I've had the opportunity to be able to see them. And I think that the sky's the limit really for them after they get their feet up underneath them. And then East Chambers at Kirbyville. And I got that score somewhere in here. But East Chambers gets the win over there out of District 10 3A. And I'm excited to see on the 3A side how that district's going to shape up. I feel like Anawak's going to win that district overall over there. As we see it. So lots of good football in that area. And like I say, we all three went 4-1 in the pick'ems. I'm really shocked. But let's talk about picking Bullet Grill House to come have watch some football, watch some baseball.
Some great football. We got 6 more baseball games left. We got the series with the Rays right now, starting the Phillies early next week. And then we'll be on. If you're not going to the Cold Spring, you're not making a trip up to Crockett to watch the game, we have U of H on tonight, and then a great lineup on Saturday. We have NFL Sunday Ticket on Sunday. Come catch whatever game you want on Sunday. Monday night, a lot of places aren't open Monday night. Come catch Monday Night Football. And even the Thursday night games. We have the Thursday night, and I know you may see it advertised as being on Amazon Prime, but you can get those games here. We are authorized to televise those, so come out Thursday night if your team's playing in Thursday night football.
Man, you're listening to the Bullet Grill House High School Sports Pregame Show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Coach Vanover some more with the Livingston Lions Football Club, and, as well as run down a few scores from around the area this last week in Week 5. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a minute.